day to all of you. We will be the reporters of today's lesson. I am Alan, the next reporter is Charles. We will be discussing the poem Do Not Fear the Past by Sugura Singenge. But before we get into the poem itself, let us talk about the author. So she is Sugura Singenge. Sugura Singenge is from Africa. She is also called the Lioness or the African Lioness. She is a graduate from the University of Dar es Salaam, one of the oldest and biggest university in Tanzania. And she is also currently volunteering with Culture and Development East Africa. This organization focuses on promoting their culture within their society. She has been very inspired by literature, especially poetry, since her childhood. She wrote her first poem in primary school at age 12. If you can research about her, if you can see her blogs, most of her works are poems. And since then, poetry has always been her way of expressing herself and inspiring others. She also added that poetry and storytelling are both powerful tools that she uses in order to touch people's lives in many different ways. Enough about the author, let's get into the poem. Let me read it for you. Do not fear the past by Sugura Singenge. Do not fear the past, it is ugly, but it is ours. Do not hold on to lies that you were fed when you were young. Learn the history of your people. Find the truth to free your soul from evil. Learn the Quran. Learn the Bible. Find the meaning of life and religion. Do not fear the past. It is painful, but it is real. Blood was spilled and people died. Love and unity had survived. Learn the tongue of your ancestors. Reconnect with the roots of your blood. Find the knowledge that was stolen. Find the knife that was robbed from us. Do not fear the past. Embrace it. Let it teach you the wisdom of your race. Take its lessons and live by them. Own the identity that was erased. Do not fear the past. Do not hate it. Do not fear the past. Learn about it. Let it teach you. Let it nurture you. Let it remind you of who you are. What a great and inspiring poem. Now, let us analyze the poem deeper and discuss its aspects one by one. First is the title. The poem is entitled Do Not Fear the Past. The title is pretty much self-explanatory and was mentioned 5 times in the poem because it shows us that the past is full of regrets and painful moments in life. Next is the subject. The subject is the topic or what the poem is literally about. It is about the lessons that we can learn in our past to make ourselves better at the present. In addition, this poem was made for fellow Africans to encourage them to rise up from the ashes, to move forward, to push forward despite what happened to them. Because their country, Africa, was colonized by European countries for about 70 years. And not only for our fellow Africans, it should be applicable to us also, to all people. Next is the persona. The poem is in a first-person point of view, or the speaker or author includes herself in her lines and uses the first-person words such as ours and us, and in a way speaks directly to those who are listening. The speaker in the poem tells us that there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. It seems like the author or the narrator is speaking directly to us. Next is the structure. The poem is composed of one stanza and contains 35 lines. Stanza is used to describe the main building block of a poem. And in the poem, we can only see one stanza, and it contains 35 lines. It is in a free verse form and does not have a regular meter. What does meter mean? Meter is the basic structure of a line within a work of poetry. But as seen on the poem, we can see any meter, and therefore it's in a free verse form. Next is the sound devices. As I said earlier, it is in the free verse form, and automatically it doesn't contain any rhymes. Next is the literary device. First is the repetition or parallelism. So first, let's define what is a literary device. Literary devices are techniques that writers use to create a special effect or an aesthetic effect in their writing, to convey information or to help readers understand their writing on a deeper level. In this case, the author used repetition and parallelism. First is the repetition. Let's define it first. Repetition is a literary device that involves intentionally using a word or phrase for effect two or more times in a speech or related work. As you can see here, she repeatedly used the phrase "do not fear the past" 2 times, as you can see, for emphasis. Next is the parallelism. What is that? Parallelism is a literary device in which parts of the sentence are grammatically the same or are similar in construction. As you can see, notice, look at the two phrases there. It is ugly and it is painful. If we can think about it, it's almost the same construction or in the same meaning. But it is ours, and the phrase "but it is real," it's almost the same too. That's what you call parallelism. That's the two phrases or sentences that are grammatically the same. Next slide naman is the literary devices. Again, which there is an anaphora naman. Repetition, just like in the earlier slide, ginamit uli yung phrase na "do not fear the past" and it's used twice, as you notice. Next is the anaphora. Anaphoras are rhetorical devices that consists of a repeating sequence of words at the beginnings of each sentences or neighboring clauses. As you can see in the slide, if you can notice the beginning words, do not, do not, do not. Next is let it, let it, let it. Those are anaphoras. Those are words that are repeatedly used in the beginning of a clause or a sentence. Last is parallelism. Parallelism again, those are sentences or clauses which are grammatically the same or same in meaning. Here is the example of parallelism that we can see in the poem. Let it teach you, let it nurture you, let it remind you. Those are almost in the same construction, sentence construction, and conveys almost the same meaning. Next is imagery. Imagery are descriptive or figurative language or words, especially in a literary work. Those are phrases or words that appeals to the 5 senses of a human person. In this case, the author used sight. Blood was spilled and people died. If we can read about it, na-imagine natin, nabasa natin yung line na yan, mag-visualize natin yung blood, which is red, and people died. Those sentences or those clauses helps the poem to be more effective and more impactful.
Next is tone. Tone is an attitude of a writer toward the subject or an audience. The poem starts off as sad because of painful memories in the past but nails to be optimistic at the end. So yung sa simula daw po ng poem, malungkot yung tone ng author because the author describes the painful memories and struggles of African people in the past. But in the end, naging optimistic na yung tone ng author kasi parang sinasabi niya sa mga readers na do not fear the past kasi ito yung tumutulong sa inyo sa kung ano ka ngayon. Next is symbolism. So first, let's define symbolism. Symbolism can be an object, person, situation, event, or action that has a deeper meaning in the overall context beyond the surface understanding. So here in the poem, the examples are learn the tongue of your ancestors. So here, yung tongue hindi siya literal na dila. Pwedeng sinasabi ng author na language siya na dapat aralin dapat aralin mo yung language ng mga ancestors mo. Same as siya dun sa reconnect with the roots of your blood. So yung roots dito, hindi siya literal na ugat, hindi parang sinasabi ng author na mag-reconnect ka dun sa mga pinagmulan mo o pinanggalingan ng dugo mo. Next is hyperbole. Hyperbole are exaggerated statements or claims not meant to be taken literally. So here in the poem, the examples are find the knowledge that was stolen. So here, knowledge na sinasabi ng author is not meant to be literally taken na nanakaw kasi ang ini-imply dito ng author is to research or alamin kung ano yung mga nangyari in the way of living nila and yung culture nila before sila makolonize ng ibang bansa. Next is, find the life that was robbed from us. So dito naman, hindi literal na nanakaw yung buhay ng mga African people, kundi ang sinasabi dito ng author is to start over or magsimula sila ulit after sila makolonize ng mga ibang bansa. Next is personification. Personification is the attribution of personal nature or human characteristics to something non-human, or the representation of an abstract quality in human form. So here in the poem, do not fear the past, embrace it. So yung past, ano siya? Inanimate object siya na ina-applyan ng human characteristics, which is yung embrace, na hindi naman talaga na ihahag o yayakapin yung past, but the author here implies that we should accept the things that happened in the past. Next is, but love and unity had survived. Yung love and unity are feelings na sinasabi na nag-survive, na hindi naman talaga nagsusurvive yung love and unity, but ang sinasabi ng author is yung love and unity is still exists even after the colonization of other countries in Africa. Next is, do not hold on to lies that you were fed when you were young. So yung verb na ginamit dito is yung fed, na human characteristic siya, then yung lies, inanimate object na hindi edible. So sinasabi nito na hindi talaga posible na kainin yung mga kasinungalingan. Kung hindi, ang sinasabi dito ng author na dapat hindi tayo maniwala, hindi natin paniwalaan yung mga kasinungalingan na sinasabi sa atin. Instead, dapat alamin natin at upang malaman natin ang katotohanan na nangyari sa past natin. Next is word choice. Word choice refers to the specific vocabulary the writer uses to convey meaning and enlighten the reader. The poem is easy to understand because it does not have any unfamiliar words. So yung author dito, gumamit lang siya ng very basic words, and the author avoids the complicated word or unfamiliar words for the readers to easily understand the message of the poem. And next is literary theory. First is social realism. Social realism describes the daily life of workers and poor people. The poem tackles about the problems of Africa, where there is a lot of conflict and endless poverty. So the author here exposed the social conflicts happened in the past of Africa, such as racism, discrimination, and slavery that African people suffers from in the past. Next is existentialism. Existentialism is a philosophical theory that people are free agents who have control over their choices and actions. The poem teaches us to be free from painful memories in the past. So the author tells the readers that we should not enclose ourselves in the past, but instead we should move forward because we have our own will and freedom of choice para piliin yung landas na tatahakin natin para sa ikabubuti natin at sa ikabubuti ng lahat.
Thank you for that, Charles. And for the last one, it's the overall reflection. The poem aims to tell the readers we should not change in our past, but to be free from it. This poem is not only applicable for Africans, but also us, to all people. This poem's message is very clear, that the past is truly full of painful experiences, events, and moments. There's no denying about that. But that past is already a part of ourselves. We should accept, learn from it, and break the chains of it, and always care and focus in the present time. And surely, better things and greater blessings will come in our way. Thank you for listening. That is all for today's lesson.